never give up on yourself. Never give up on yourself. And don't break the promises that you give to yourself. The biggest problem with our society is not the outside. It's what's going on inside. And why we get stuck in our lives are the promises that we create towards ourselves. Because if you want to have a different life, then you need to act and have the values straight, whether someone is looking or they're not looking. So you don't act differently when people are looking. And that's a huge, huge change that you can do.
Are you confident? Do you have consistency? How much conviction do you have? I'm Daniel Gomez, the Confidence Architect, a business strategist, keynote speaker, executive coach, and best-selling author. On the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show, we will help you unlock confidence to create consistency and develop conviction. Together, we will discover the key that unlocks your confidence. Welcome to another episode of the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show. It's a beautiful day here, and with the beautiful day comes a beautiful guest, and we got the one and only Ms. Ragne Sinikas, all the way from Mexico. She is amazing. I'll tell you what, I got to give her so much credit because she just finished recording her 100th episode on her podcast. And get this, she did it in a month. In a month. Think about that, how much effort it is. She did 2 shows a day, and I might be a little bit wrong on the stats, but welcome to the show, Ms. Ragne. How you doing today?
Hey, thank you for having me. And to start my day with so kind words is absolutely amazing, obviously. So,
well, you're amazing. We got to give you props. You're amazing. Gosh, think about it. So I was studying some stats. Most shows, podcasts that start, they never make it past show number 9 or 10. I don't know if you knew that or not. Most of them die before they get to 10.
Thank God I didn't know that, because then I didn't have that. I was not afraid something which doesn't affect me, no?
And you did 100. You did 100, Ragne, 100. 100, man. I'm like, wow. I'm like,
it took a little longer, and I didn't do it with a month. So it's 10 weeks, 2 podcasts per day. So we have been busy, and it has been great experience, both from learning curve, from challenges, and a lot of inspiration. So I think that the momentum was very correct. The idea basically surfaced on Friday afternoon when I had like 3-4 calls in a row, and people were so worried about their future and just asking like, I don't know what to do anymore. So can you help me? And I'm like, oh my God, I have so many friends which are actually coaching, and there were like questions from financing, ending up with emotional support, and psychological. I was like, I have all those friends and they could help. Like, and then I started to just connect with my friends, and I said, you know what? From Monday, I want to launch this. And they were like, on Monday? I said, yeah. I was like, well, yeah, I will be there. So just tell me what I need to do. And we started like that. And in the end of first week, we were booked for, let's say, you are now next week. Yeah, we were booked like 12 months. Well, 12 weeks. 12 weeks with one week. So everybody was like really getting the idea why and who are we going to help and inspire and all of that. So it has been a beautiful, beautiful journey. And
awesome. Do me a favor, because we're definitely going to dive into it, but we haven't introduced you yet. So do me a favor. And I love my guests to introduce themselves. So tell the world, who is Ragne Sinikas? You're such an amazing individual. So tell the world who you are right now.
Well, as born in Soviet Union, I come from Estonia. So my beginning has been very interesting in a sense that I think God has given me all the opportunities to really, really see what I'm made of. So since the day that I was born, and I think that despite all of my circumstances, I never let those circumstances to define me or who I am or limit me. Like, I cannot do that because nobody else has done it before. So coming from Estonia, been in Europe, I have mainly been involved with real estate, from developing it, from selling it, from whatever you name, I have done in real estate. So my background in real estate is really, really, which I can really say that has defined who I am in a sense. But then when I moved to Mexico, and that was already 8 years ago, then I started to, and again, I started with real estate. So I created the Coral Desk, which is the business center and co-working center. And I saw that there's huge need for networking for business owners because there's a lot of people from US and Canada here. And yes, they come and they don't know where to start, no? So we started with networking. And then I saw that there's kids which are like high school or just entering the university, or they would like to enter, but they don't have the means to do so. And they started to come to our events. I went to talk with them and I said, how can I serve you? Like, what do you need?
Yeah.
Do you need access? Do you need opportunities? Like, where can I serve you? And from that point, it was 3 years ago, our youth initiative was born. And I started to bring also like mentors and coaches to coach those kids.
Awesome.
And from there, I ended up with one foundation from Africa contacting me and saying, you know what, why don't you do the same what you're doing in Mexico with us? And I'm like, in Nigeria? Are you kidding me? Like Mexico to Nigeria? They say, yes, no, we can do it online. So I said, okay, yes, let's start.
Well, let's, you said something that caught my attention there. And I think the world needs to hear this right now, especially here in the States. I love what you said. You said from the get-go that you have not allowed your circumstances to limit you. And I think so many people right now, especially here in the United States, is we're allowing the circumstances that we're in to limit us. And I think about what you just said. So audience, this is where you got to get a paper, a pen, because something magical happens when you put pen to paper. And take notes, because Ragne is going to drop some wisdom here to us. So you went from the Soviet Union, you went across the world to another country, not even where they speak English, to a Spanish-speaking country in Mexico, and you're still succeeding. And I love what you said. You do not allow your circumstances to limit you. And I believe so many of us, we allow, whether it's our city government or government, people, situations, we allow just circumstances to limit who we are and who we can become. So speak on that a little bit. How have you not allowed circumstances to limit you, Ragne?
You know, it goes back or goes down to the moment that we allow our fears to take over. And the problem with that is that there's so many excuses which are accepted by our communities, by society where we live. And that means that if I say that, well, I was born in a very poor family, so that means that I cannot never go to Harvard. We see so many, there's like 5% of those rare people that can actually break through and end up in Harvard, for example. But I think that the main reason for that, and don't get me wrong, I have had those battles with myself. Wow. Every single time I do it. And especially you mentioned like coming from Estonia. I did not speak one word when I took the plane to move from Estonia to Mexico. The only words which I knew in Spanish were hola y gracias. So did I do something crazy? Yes. Do I today say that I could have said that I don't speak the language? I don't know how to do business there. All those are excuses. If you really want, then you ask, okay, today I can't. How can I? What do I need to do today in order to achieve it? Because it's all about you. You can change your life. You can change yourself. If you lack of a skill, if you lack, like you see that in your industry, you don't have a job anymore. Like we have so many people in Los Cabos today, which are from tourism, and obviously there's zero movement. So what do you need to do? What skill do you need to learn today that you have some type of income for tomorrow? But we know that our society will accept that the mentality of being victim is sort of celebrated. And until this is celebrated, then there's not going to be many changes in our society, because it's fine. Oh my God, you lost your work. The government doesn't give you money. Like, okay, you lost your work. What do you do now differently?
I love what you said. That was boom, baby. Today I can't. I wrote that down. Today I can't. How can I? I think if many of us approach with that attitude every single day, I love that. I wrote that one down, actually. I'm gonna use that. Today I can't, Ragne, but how can I? And it's a powerful question to ask yourself, because if you don't know, but you ask yourself a question like that, your own subconscious mind is going to answer it and show you the way. I love that.
Yeah.
That's powerful, man. That's like, wow.
And it's part of also my daily meditation, because it's programming yourself in a sense that the mind doesn't understand if your thoughts are positive or negative. They just process them as positive or negative. So you put the picture there, so rain can be positive or negative, no?
Yes.
It all depends on your mood, your whatever it is, circumstance. Is it positive today that it's raining, or is it negative today it's raining? Because the same thing happens with every single thing which we have in our life, and we don't notice it because we are so addicted to be a victim, and it's celebrated.
Wow. That was, man, you got to give me a train to process everything you said. You're dropping so much wisdom right there. I love what you said, though, because we gravitate towards the easy, and usually the easy is a negative because that's our process. But I still can't get over what you said. Today I can, but how can I? And I think so many of us, we don't have the skill set, like you were saying. We don't have the skill set, and we use that as an alibi. We use that as an excuse. Oh, well, I can't do it. I just can't do it. Yeah, but don't say, okay, you can't, but how can you? I love that. So let's keep going. So you arrive in Mexico, not speaking Spanish, not speaking anything. Like, first of all, what made you want to go to Mexico? You're in Estonia and Russia. What made you want to go to Mexico, say, instead of United States?
Well, I wasn't planning. I was top of my career. I was running 4 countries, or leading 4 countries for the big corporate called Regis in Europe. And my next step was actually to move to Switzerland, because that was my dream, and that's why I started in that company and everything. But, when we make plans, life happens. So in that, I met my husband, and we had like 2 years of a long distance relationship. And then there came a point where we saw that, okay, whether we make it work and so for something longer, or whether we go to our ways, because I was 2 days in Latvia, 2 days in Lithuania, 2 days in Finland. So I was just traveling every single day. So my time in Estonia was maybe weekends, or not, sometimes even not weekends, because I ended up Saturday being in Lithuania, for example, and I needed to be in Latvia on Monday. So there was even not a possibility to go back. And obviously for a relationship, that type of work doesn't really work.
Yes.
And I had to make a decision. And I said, if you do that type of work and you do it I was doing it for 5 years, it starts to get you like, where in those companies, the more you push and the more you perform, they see that they can take more.
It wears on you, right?
Exactly. So my targets were growing and growing and growing. And I was pushing my teams so much that I started to feel bad, because I was like constantly on them. And obviously having to stress myself, can I deliver? Can I deliver? Can I deliver? And that wears you out. And one day I was driving and was in Estonia, and woke up in the morning and was like, can't really like breathe. And then I had a beautiful coastline in Estonia and Tallinn. So I live in BMC, and you drive to Tallinn, which is the capital. It's like 13 kilometers, and it's all like you can see the sea and everything. And I was seeing the big boat leaving, and I got myself thinking that, what if that was my life? And what if I really, like, whatever is going on inside me and squeezes me now that I cannot breathe would just take my life? So was that the life that I really wanted for myself? I was on the way to the hospital just to check my heart. And I got there. My doctor was like, he's brilliant. And I was always laughing, like, you should be coach, not doctor, but he's brilliant doctor. So I'm very grateful that he is a doctor. And they said, like, I understand that you are very committed. I understand that you're very oriented and result focused, but you need to understand, if you keep on going and doing this, you are going to end up with a heart attack, because what you're very close to it. You have a micro one today, because if you see what your heart is doing, this is just a step away. I don't know if he just put me on that spot.
Yes.
I don't know what the actual thing is, because I can't really read that. But he was seeing it because he was listening to me, and he knew what the next step was going to be. So I drive home from there, and I said, and the worst part is that I'm not doing it for myself. I'm doing it for a company which is public company, and nobody even cares if I'm there or not at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's true. It's very true. So it was an eye-opening when you saw the ship leaving. You're like, wow, that could be my life just leaving me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and that was, I think, the point. And then, there's no moments in life where you think like, why that happened exactly at that moment. Like, I think it's a beautiful orchestra that the things and the people come to your life, whether it's a good or bad experience, it depends. And I tend to, even now with a first emotion, when something bad happens or someone does something bad to us, we think that was a bad thing. No, when you actually are open and you understand why did you need to go through that moment or that emotion or experience, then you see that all of those moments and experience and people are actually preparing for you what's coming. Because without those experiences, we could not handle the next thing and the next thing and the next
I
thing.
love that, man. You know what? You're exactly right. I just love, this is a golden bomb she just dropped down right now. Yeah, I got to write this down. The experiences that come to you is what Ragne said, whether they're good or bad, they're preparing you for the next level, for the next season of your life. And whether it's good or bad, if it's bad, it's preparing your character. It's building your character. It's building who you are inside. Because a lot of times, Ragne, I see a lot of people that have that immediate short burst of success, but they don't have the character to handle it. And I see a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of them that I coach. And when we talk about their finances, they want to avoid it. I said, well, what about your books? Well, what do you mean my books? Yeah, you got to keep track we got to keep track of the money that you get. Well, you got to open a month, you got to close a month. And it amazes me how many business owners do not keep track of their incoming revenue. And then I said, well, that's all the money you made? Well, no, I got this cash and I got this other stuff. I go, well, report it. Well, why? Because then I'm going to pay more taxes. And in taking shortcuts, it's costing them business in the long run. Because if you're not a business owner of integrity, you're not going to succeed. I don't care who you are. It's going to catch up to you, and you're going to have that short burst of success, maybe for a month or 6 months, but it's not sustainable. And it's exactly what you're saying. Those experiences that come our way, they prepare us for the next level. And if you can't be faithful, just to say we'll just say, since you're a coach and I'm a coach, if we can't be faithful helping, say, 10 clients at one time, and we're not reporting all the revenue, how do we expect to scale that and take care of 20 clients? It won't happen. And it's those experiences when we take care of those little details that help us to be successful. So I love what you said. Those experiences prepare us for the next level. I love that. Thank you so much. Continue going on. I'm sorry. I just wanted to drop that golden. Man, you have a lot of wisdom in you there.
Well, you talk from the inside, and I think that the greatest moment for me to really understand, like, I thought as well that the biggest mistake that we can make, especially when we have a great career, when we are on the top of the mountain in our like mind, that everything is great, like we achieved the success in our work, we have decent income, we're like the feeling that the adrenaline is so high, but there's no balance. And this is one or the other day or way is going to affect you. And I had this line in front of me forever, and I never understood it. I just read it and I said, yeah, sure. Leadership starts within. Leadership starts within. And the day that I really understood what this one-liner means, my life changed. Because within, what is within? We put such emphasis and importance to our mind or mindset, psychology, and especially when we are in entrepreneurial fields, when we are in leadership fields, that we think that the rest sort of comes alone or along. What we don't understand that there's actually 4 elements, which is the core of whether you call it your personal leadership, which means that it doesn't matter if you are a leader or not, but you are leading your life. So you are a leader, at least in one person's life, and that's you, the person that looks into your mirror every single day. So
I love that.
When you don't have that balance, when you don't understand that, okay, the mindset is one, and what our today's leaders are lacking the most is the connection with the emotions. So emotional intelligence is far further, and this is the point where we need to understand why we are in our leadership where we are, because there is no connection with the intellectual intelligence, with our emotional intelligence. And why women are surfacing so much now? Because for them, it's vice versa. And it's maybe not even conscious, but subconscious, that we take the decisions based on instinct. Yeah. And I love Robin Sharma's statement on that actually instinct is much more powerful than intellect. And it has its seeds once you understand. There's a lot of people that now are listening and they're like, yeah, she's nuts, or they don't understand because I was there. I did not understand. I was like, what? Like, yeah, emotions, like we have taught in our schools, especially if you're a boy, it's like, don't feel, don't cry, be a boy, be a man, deliver this, deliver that. So you cannot cry, you cannot do this, you cannot feel, you need to be numb, then you're strong.
And you're exactly right, because I guess it was almost a decade ago, Pepsi was going through some turmoil in their corporation, and they brought in a female CEO, and she did exactly what you're talking about. She actually let some of the employees bring their kids to work. They would invite their spouses or husbands or wives to lunch, and they're like, what are you doing? Like, they thought she was crazy. And when the moment that she took over, Pepsi stock went up. But it's exactly what you're saying. It was because she wasn't leading with her intellectual intellect. She was leading from her heart. So what you're saying is, with your emotions, you lead with your heart. And when you lead with your heart, you can't go wrong. And it's a proven fact, because people said it won't work in a corporation. It won't work in a Fortune 500. Well, it worked at Pepsi, and they were very successful. So that's just proof that when you implement it, it's going to work. It's just so many times, I think I have a saying, right? When you open your heart, it opens your mind. And most people never open their heart. And when you lead with profits before people, you're never going to succeed. And what you're saying is put people first and everything else will come in place. That's awesome, man. I'm loving this interview, Ragne. Thank you so much for just joining me. It's a wonderful this is the blessing of having a podcast, because I get to just really, I've talked to you before, but it's just when we have these conversations, we dive so much deeper, and it's like, I never knew that about you.
Well, yeah, never see that.
Yeah.
Don't just evaluate someone or something because of the looks.
Yeah.
Look
So
into the inside the box.
yeah. So let's shift up here a little bit. Let's go into, you move, you fly, you got a lot of things going on. You're learning new skills because you said today I can't, but how can I? So somewhere along the way, you lost your confidence. So tell us, how did you lose your confidence? And what did you do to regain that confidence? Because I think a lot of our audience right now, they've lost their confidence. They don't have that confidence within themselves. And I see you carry yourself very well, very confident. But there was a point where you moved across thousands of miles and you lost it. So tell us about that. And what did you learn about yourself, and how did you regain that confidence?
Number one, again, none of those core characteristics about you cannot be connected with external values. All needs to start within. And that means that we assume a lot of things. So when I moved here, I assumed that I need to be the same person. I need to be strong. I need to show leadership. I need to know everything, or I need to show that I know everything. And actually being vulnerable and say, you know what? I don't know how this works in this country. I need to learn. And saying out loud, that allowed people to see me as a person. Because in the beginning, they were calling me ice queen. I'm coming from Nordic countries where all my life we have been told, do not show emotions. You do not talk when other people talk. Like the mindset or the way that we were brought up was like always like, you need to be quiet and no emotions. Quiet and no emotions. And now coming from Mexico, where everything is like only emotions and only talking, I was like, oh, whoa, stop! What's going on here? Like,
you were like, ¿Qué pasó?
Exactly. It was like, like, let's talk one at a time, and like the adaptation was like, and I wanted to be in so much control. And the day that I let go, I said, okay, I need to learn. I need to learn. I need to understand how do they function. I need to understand what is important for them. I need to know their needs. And then I can start to build the team here. Because for them was so natural to have their breakfast at the reception. I'm coming freaking out, no? Then I'm going with my clients, like we're touring the center. I'm going to the reception. She opens up the drawer and there's like literally, I don't know how many days the sandwich had been there. And I'm like, I just want to die in front of the client because I'm like, oh my God. And they don't understand why you're doing it or making a problem out of this, because that has been how they have been brought up, no?
Yes. And I love what you said. You said you gain control because you let go of the control.
Yeah.
That's powerful. I think so many of us, we struggle in our own personal life because we try to control every single step, and if you don't give the world, if you don't give the universe an opportunity to bring new people, new situations into your life, you miss out. And that's what being a control freak is going to happen. It's going to stress you out. You're going to get irritated, and it's counterproductive. So thank you for being so honest that when you let go, it's like everything changed. And I love what you said. It's about the people that you're serving. It's a different world. In Estonia, you were serving, you were more driven, you were more direct. And over here in Mexico, you're like, okay, now I got to be more authentic, more caring. I got to lead with my heart instead of with my mind. And man, so what did you do to regain your confidence? What did you do during that season?
I studied. I understood that until I don't speak the language and I don't understand the culture, I cannot build a sustainable and a successful team, neither. If you don't build your team, you cannot build your business. So I had to learn. So I started to actually take the Spanish classes. And then all my partners here were very smart because they knew that I have the potential, and I was like always wanting to be so perfect. It's like, I still don't like, I had already learned the conversation on Spanish, but I didn't like really know all the grammar, no? So I was sort of like talking and not talking, and they were like, you know what? We were under construction, and they were like, the construction workers really do not understand the English, and we can't be with you every time to translate you. So you need to start to talk with them. So I literally, that forced me out of my comfort zone. You can't imagine. I was like, already considering my look, going to a construction worker and asking him to do something is something which, like, whoever has been in Mexico understands, no? They would say, look at you like, you want me to do something for you?
I love your honesty. I wish people listening to the podcast could see your facial expressions. I just love it.
So it was really like a moment where I was pushed out from my comfort zone, the maximum limits, and I was like, okay, well, and then you really, like, if you really need to do something, you will do it. It doesn't matter. The first 2 weeks, maybe I talked more with my hands and with my body language than the language itself, because I was lacking so much still in vocabulary and all of that. But when they saw the effort that I was putting in, they wanted to help me. And that created a beautiful momentum that they were like, they knew that I was always on time. First, they were always late, and I was always there. And it took them like a week when they started to come on time. Like, you could see that their commitment now was as serious as my commitment to them. Because I was bringing them, I did very different things. I was bringing them personal trainer, how to lift weights without hurting your back, how to do like in the middle of construction work where it's really heavy, like how do you stretch, how do you like take the 10-minute pause after every hour, like things like that, which they started to feel better. And they said, wow, I think, I don't really know what they're thinking, but obviously they must have liked it because I saw their commitment towards me growing. And that was a beautiful experience. And then my partners were like, they were actually visiting from Mexico City, and we were in the middle of the session of doing the personal trainer and everybody. Like, we had around all the construction workers in there, all the care ones they had. And then the trainer in the middle, like showing them the stretching and how to hold your back and everything. And they were like, what is going on here? And I'm like explaining, and they're looking at me like, that was not exactly what we wanted to like accomplish, but okay, if you like. And they saw like, and then the guys, they didn't know whether to run or what, but they I said, no, continue. And I saw that they were like, wow, what should we do? And they said, no, continue. So they continued. And then after that, the investors, wow, how did you manage to, like, where did you get the idea? I was watching them, and I saw so many of them like holding their back, which means that it hurts.
Yeah.
So really, really, where I want to go with that is notice people, notice their needs, whether they are verbal or whether it's body language. But that means that it's your effort, because you need to take time, commitment, and be very specific on details. And that's the way how you can help your team to grow. And if they grow, you grow.
I love what you just said, Ragne. I think too many of us, we miss that golden wisdom right there, what you just said. You need to write that down, people listening to this podcast. This is an amazing show. I'm loving it. We never take the time to notice people's needs sometimes. We're always so fast and quick and worried about our own agenda that we don't pay attention to the details of other people's agendas. And what Ragne is saying is when you take time to notice what other people need, what other people may be struggling with, and you provide a solution for those needs. And not only does your team grow or your company grow or your life grow, but you yourself as an individual grow. I love that, man. That's awesome. So let me ask you this. What makes Ragne distinctive?
I have been lately thinking about that a lot because it's not the first time that it's asked. I think I'm curious, and I'm curious of knowing everybody's story. And I want my mission is actually to bring out those hidden heroes who have those untold stories. Give them the voice and give them the choice. And by choice, I mean the opportunities and the access. Because I have seen that miracle, what it can do, and how easy it really is to do. Every single person who, whether you are a leader, whether you are an entrepreneur, you can do it. You can empower one person and you have changed that person's life forever. And they will be grateful forever. That's the biggest reward that you can have. There's so many forms of wealth in our life. But I think that's the main drive for me. Like to find those untold stories with the untold or hidden heroes, I call them.
Hidden heroes. I love that. So what makes Ragne Sinikas distinctive is she gives a voice to the voiceless. That's powerful. You know how many people would rather want to be heard than to allow other people to be heard? That's not a common trait in leaders. I think the stats are like over 50% of leadership is title leadership, which is just a title. And in that level of leadership, which is the lowest level, they always want to be heard. Instead of what you just said is you give a voice to the people you serve. And when you give a voice to the people you serve, they tell you the untold stories that are going to help you to elevate your teams, your businesses, and every aspect of your life. Man, that's powerful. So what have you learned about yourself through your entire journey? As we come towards the end of the show, what have you learned about yourself through losing your confidence, going to another country, doing a whole career change now, what we're going through? If you sum it all up, you look back at your life to this point, what has Ragne learned about herself to this moment?
Never give up on yourself. Never give up on yourself. And don't break the promises that you give to yourself. The biggest problem with our society is not the outside. It's what's going on inside. And why we get stuck in our lives are the promises that we create towards ourselves. Because if you want to have a different life, then you need to act and have the values straight, whether someone is looking or they're not looking. So you don't act differently when people are looking. And that's a huge, huge change that you can do. Because we all know, like every single January, everybody goes to gym. Yes, 1 week, everybody is there. I can do this. And then it's like, I'm tired. Everything hurts. This and that. And maybe I shouldn't do that. And what if we don't realize this is the promise that we gave to ourselves. But as we don't have the specific, but nobody really noticed. We are so affected by our society and what the society says, what is good, what is bad, So we don't pay attention to ourselves. Yet that this is where you should start. Like, don't break the promises you give to yourself. Be true to yourself. Never give up on yourself. Because if you don't believe in yourself, absolutely nobody else will believe in yourself. You can't wait someone to rescue. The only person who can rescue is you. Nobody else. And you have today the choice whether you continue doing what you're doing and do it until you die, or you really step into your power, make changes that are needed, and there's going to be price to pay for every single dream that we have. Are you ready to pay them? Most people say in the beginning, yes. And when the first payment needs to be done, I think I need to find something else. Like, this is too hard. No. How do I give up on my this or that or something which gives you satisfaction for a short time?
I love that. Wow. And you know what you just said is, the first payment isn't usually monetary.
Yeah.
The first payment is, hey, you got to die to your old self. And most people don't want to die to their old self. Man, wow. Continue. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but man, that just like, wow, that blew my head is just so much information over that I'm going to go back and listen to this episode myself. Over and over.
No, and that's the thing. Everything starts, like, as I told you, the day that I understood the line, leadership starts within. Leadership, leading myself. I cannot help. It's the same mindset. Like, if you are, every single person has been inside the airplane, I believe. Maybe there's a few, like a 5% who hasn't. Huh? But what we have been taught, first, in an emergency situation, you put on the mask to yourself in order to help others. The same goes with your life. Help yourself in order to add value, impact, be significant to others. You can't do it if you are not there.
Wow. Man, you just dropped so much wisdom, Ragne. Man, this is incredible. This is incredible. So you have a lot of things going on yourself. So share, because I know after people listen to this amazing episode, they're going to be like, who is this Ragne? She came out of nowhere. She's Wonder Woman, Superwoman, like boom, right? She just dropping golden wisdom everywhere. How can people find you? How can people connect with you if they want to get a hold of you?
Well, the easiest, obviously, I'm in every single social media platform that you can imagine. I'm not very active on Twitter because I think that's not my generation. Obviously, my strong suit would be most probably Facebook, Instagram. I am there. I need to be more active there, but I'm working on that. And if you want to see what we are launching next, actually, we are having as you asked, what distincts me. I'm now really on a mission to help people to find their voice and give them the choice. So what we are launching next week is our Starpreneur TV. And this is a platform where you can really use your voice in order for this to elevate your business, take your message to a wider audience, and really tap into a TV industry, which is a $1 billion industry. And this is the new black, let's say, or new orange, or whatever you want to call. So we are launching it. And if you really want to leverage on that, if you want to have the voice and the choice, then look for me, www.starpreneurs.tv. So that should be live starting this Monday. And then obviously World Women Conference and Awards. We made huge changes to the circumstances that are affecting our operations, but nevertheless, I think now we are coming out even stronger, even more unique, not better, but different. And obviously, worldwomanconference.com is there. If you want to join our fascinating leaders club, you are welcome to come, whether you are a woman or a man. We have a lot of men on board, which are empowering women. So if you're listening and you really want to impact and change someone else's life, obviously we start with yours, and then you're welcome to join us.
Wow. You know, Ragne, I want to say thank you so much for coming on our show today. You brought a lot of wisdom. You brought a lot of value. And I think it just shows men and women today that it doesn't matter where you start, it's where you finish. And the moment that you don't know, I wrote that down. Today I can't. How can I? Today I can, but tomorrow I can. And what skills do I need to learn? I think people needed to hear that, because I think we've been saying so many excuses right now, and we get used to saying so many excuses that it becomes a habit. So thank you so much for sharing your knowledge, your wisdom, and your heart today, because above your words, I felt your heart because you were being so real. So thank you for that. So
I absolutely loved talking to you with your audience. I hope that was more than anything else valuable for you and for your audience, and at your service, whatever. And yes, always, whenever business plan you start, keep the end result in mind, because the how will come to you. And especially when you meditate on that, the right people will come to you at the right moment. So the how will take care of yourself, but you need to have very clear vision with your end result, where you want to end up.
awesome, man. Well, audience, I hope y'all enjoyed this amazing show. I know I did. I'm going to go back and listen to it myself more than one time and take notes myself. So she just dropped so much wisdom. That's a wrap for this week's show. We'll see you next week here on the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show. This is Daniel Gomez, and thank you so much for tuning into our show today. We'd love your feedback. Please drop us a comment, and thank you for leaving us a review. Don't forget to subscribe to our show and share this episode with a friend. And my free gift for listening to our show today is a copy of my best-selling book, You Were Born to Fly. To get your free copy, go to DanielGomezInspires.com and get your copy today. That's DanielGomezInspires.com. And to elevate your life and business even more, follow me on social media at Daniel Gomez Inspires on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Together, we will discover the key that unlocks your confidence.